Without bad spins, there are no good spins. And this week is a good spin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Praise Wheel. This is the series where Matt from Scale Builders Guild and myself have vanquished H10 optics, and we're building them week by direction of the wheel. The wheel has 24 options on it, and we spin every week. And as we hit the options, they fall away, so we can't ever repeat a week twice. This is week 3 of this series already, and we've got a number of changes done, sometimes twice already. No big deal though, because this week we did it again. We spun the wheel, and Matt and I got very different results. Adjust.
There, that's not
That's
an
easy.
awkward thing. That looks great.
Yeah, ready?
Yeah, hit the button.
This is your spin.
This is my spin. Here we go. Oh, there's no noise. Turn the
No,
volume.
I'm just... Oh no.
What'd I get?
2 more spins.
Oh, that's not good. I don't care for that one.
I don't care for that at all.
Why?
I don't, that's just bad.
This is bad.
If we get swap trucks, I don't have to spin, right? Oh, okay.
Used parts. Yes.
Not from your stash though.
So I have to, somebody has to send me,
you have
or I
to
have to
buy
buy
used parts.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
That's one.
Uh,
That's one. Oh no. Okay.
This is bad. This is bad. This is going to be a bad one. Praise wheel. Praise wheel.
You're just gonna take all the good ones. No. Yes.
Dealer's choice. That's for you, right?
Yes. So
Choose other person's parts.
I get to choose also what you have to do. Now I have to spin.
Yeah, I know. But are you going to choose what
Oh,
I
do I
have
have
to
to
do
choose now?
first? Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, no, you don't have to. I'd prefer if you did, so you didn't have a lot of time to think about it.
No, I'm gonna go.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you to the end of the stream
Yeah.
to think about that.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
Okay.
see what kind of mood this next one puts me in.
All right. Good luck.
Spin for the next one. Oh God.
This is bad.
No. Yes. I'm
Oh,
good
BBW.
with it.
Okay. That's easy. That's a good one.
easy for me.
That's
Add
no
some
problem.
weight.
Add some weight.
Add some weight. A sound system.
Oh God. That makes me physically ill. A sound system.
4 scale 12s in the back.
And all it plays is Sweet Home Alabama.
Toto. Africa by Toto on repeat. Okay, it has to be a early 2000s show car quality style sound system.
Okay.
Like I want it has to be displayed.
Uh-huh.
That often implied lights, like a waterfall style molded set. Like,
Uh-huh. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
like
Uh,
amplifiers usually up and presented. You something like with underlit cables.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. All right.
2000s quality, and I need to see the inspiration photos. Like,
It's gonna have to be like a molded
yeah,
piece
that
that has the woofers
yes
and tweeters in there. Oh God. Oh, it's gonna be like this horrible kind of
yes
stuff.
exactly. That is 2000s sound system.
Look at that stupid ass thing. It's all this garbage. Fine.
Now, as you can see from the high production quality of that particular stream, Matt and I were both in Vegas, and we just had to do a little impromptu spin. But what we got for this week was BBW, meaning we had to add a little bit of weight to this truck. That is an easy task to complete, but not something that I thought would occupy the entire week. So I decided to do a little extra as well. But first for this week, to add the weight, how we're going to accomplish that is we've got a couple of different options. One of my preferred methods is using brass clamp rings in the wheels. Now, I've already changed the wheels on this truck, but even if I hadn't, these brass clamp rings would have worked in the stock wheels the exact same. So no matter the order that I would have done these upgrades, these rings would have been applicable to this project. So that is one that I am going to get added to the front. These are the 0.8 inch wide, which is the proper width for the 1.9 wheels that I have on there. There's two widths of these rings available because there's two different widths for the wheels. So if you're going down this route and you want to add to your aftermarket wheels, make sure you're picking the right ones. But if you've got the stock wheels or you've got wheels like these KMC Riots, then the 0.8 inch wide versions will be the ones that you'll want to choose. And I'll put a link to those in the description. Now, since we have already changed the wheels, I also have another easy option, and that is to swap out the SLW hubs to some brass hubs. Now, these come in a number of different offsets that you choose based on how wide offset you want your wheels. I've ran 475 hubs on this truck all the way around. So I'm gonna use some 475 hubs on this as well, and I'm gonna put them on both corners of the truck. Not something I necessarily typically do, but in the spirit of the wheel, we might as well just do a little extra. Please the wheel gods. So hopefully next week we get another promising result. The installation of these parts is super simple, only gonna take 10 or 15 minutes to get knocked out in general. So it's really just disassembling the hubs that are on there and then reinstalling the hubs and disassembling the wheels and then reinstalling, but with the brass clamp ring instead of the plastic. It's just super simple, straightforward. Probably not something you guys necessarily want to follow along with as is. So I'll give you guys a before and after weight comparison, just so you can see how much that I added. So, you know, you can double check my work. For the next part of the build, to get into the fun portion of this, I wanted to continue on with my theme. Obviously, we've gone down the Bandit Trans Am path with the Phoenix and the T-tops, but a little bit extra, you know, detail on that was something that I was after. And I think that one way to do that is to kind of try and make the rear half fitting in some sort as well. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to remove the fuel cell from the rear here, and I'm going to remove the rear portion of the cage. And then I've already pulled off the little flags that go on the back portion, so I wasn't planning to replace those anyway. But what I have done is I've designed up a trunk lid with the little tiny, you know, whale tail or whatever you call that version of the spoiler that was on those Trans Ams. Now, I've done a test print of that already. This was in a nylon filament, and as a test, I needed to change up my supports a little bit, so this isn't the version that I'm actually going to be using. I'm going to be reprinting this in a black filament so that it matches a little bit better, and down the road I may also do a, you know, sand, smooth, and paint on it so that it gives the same texture. But for this week, I don't think that we're going to have time for that. So this was my first prototype here. Now, again, you can see the little bit of a spoiler here. It's got the little bosses just like the stock piece has. And then there's holes here on the side, which will correspond with where the flags were currently mounted. So it'll give it a little bit extra support on the front side of it, just in case anything were to happen. It doesn't want to rip it off as easily, at least. And then I also added a cutout in the rear. And I did that so that I could make an additional piece that kind of mimicked the style of Trans Am taillights. So I've got it designed up for the taillight set, and what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to be using my Bamboo X1 carbon with an AMS on it, which is an automatic material selection. I don't know what AM. I should look up what it means. Either way, it's a thing that sits on top of my printer and gives me 4 different types or colors of filament that I can use. So I've got a design for the rear taillight, and I'm going to use 3 different colors. One will be a red background and then some black accents like the strips that were in the Trans Am taillights. And then in the center of the actual units was a license plate. I'm not gonna run a license plate on this just because of the width. A scale license plate would take up most of it. So I'm gonna not do that. But in the center there, I'm just gonna block out a little area and I'll put like my HD, which is something I put in a lot of the 3D printed parts that I designed. So I'm just gonna incorporate that. So from there, I will use the Bamboo software, and you can go through and there's a painting function, which just allows you to go through and click on surfaces and tell it what color you want it to be. And that just makes it super simple, and it will go through and it will handle all of the material changes between layers to make sure that in the end, you get your parts printed in all the colors at one time. I know that I've become a master painter already, but this week, I think I've done enough painting and I'm gonna give myself a break. So we're just gonna do some digital painting on the computer, and then we're gonna hit the button on the AMS and let it kick out exactly the parts we need. But we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna let it do its thing on both the rear tail section and the tail light, and then we're gonna get that installed. And with the abilities of movie magic, we've got our parts already. So now I've got my new rear tail. This isn't just a flat area. It's got curves in both directions, just because vehicles in the full-size world very rarely have any sort of just straight line in any surface. There's always some sort of curve to them. So we've got a curve in this, and we've got a curve down, and then it flows into that rear little spoiler section. And again, you can see that little cutout there, but this is my new taillight setup. So red filament, I think it's called like a ruby red. I can't remember who exactly made that. I used it for the 3D printed engine model that I used on the moon buggy up there. But then I did some matte black for the division lines that go in those taillights. And finally, I used some gold filament there in the center. And that is, you know, tried to kind of match along the lines of what one of the Phoenix colors were, and it actually matches really closely. So I'm pretty happy with that. This I did separately because I wanted to print it in an orientation that was, you know, optimal. And also if I would have done it in this with how I had it oriented, it would have taken much, much longer with the amount of color changes that it would have had to make. So that's why I did it in this way in the first place. But this just slides in from the back, and from here, I can shoe glue that in place. I don't want to permanently affix it with, you know, CA or anything right now, because like I was saying, I would like to get this sanded down and then painted and clear coated with the same colors that I used on the rest of the body panels. So that's still my goal for that. If I use shoe glue or E6000, I can easily still remove it. So I think that that's going to be the route that I choose to go. This is going to be a pretty easy install. I am going to remove the fuel cell for now. And while I could have integrated in the mounts for that, I've got another plan with some stuff from Send Cut Send that I knocked out while I was in Vegas, but haven't got the rest of the design sorted yet. So that's going to come a little bit later. For this week, I'm going to get this pulled apart. It's going to be 4 screws for the fuel cell and then 4 screws for the rear parts. I can get everything pulled out, and then we can get this dropped in. This is the rear piece of the chassis that we're removing, and this is what will replace it. Exact same dimensions as far as the actual mounting positions. This really just pops in. That was also a pretty simple modification. Nothing crazy. Now I did cop out a little by not making this an actual light up taillight, something that I definitely could do in the future by just modifying the design just a little bit, even if we wanted to just use the red printed filament and shine through that rather than going to a translucent or, you know, some sort of detailed Lexan, anything like that. we have some options for that. Maybe that's something we'll look at in the future, depending if I get to keep this truck or if Matt ends up stealing it. We have plenty left to do, and the wheel could absolutely ruin so many of my plans. One detail that I did want to get done for this week, but did not have time yet, is that James from Night Customs, he made me a custom version of the driver head for the movable optic interior. James sells a complete setup that you can have that gives you an animated driver and passenger, one being my face, one being Matt's face. There's also some other options in there as well, but James made me a version wearing a cowboy hat. So I plan to get that printed up and detailed to give the old Bird Reynolds style to it. But that will come here in following weeks, as long as I'm allowed. There were some good suggestions in last week's video on things to help complete the look of the Bandit that we've got going on here. And a lot of those were still things that I'm considering, trying to figure out how to integrate into this to make it all work well. But one step at a time, 1 week at a time. This coming Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, you'll see the spin for this upcoming week's video. Now, this video comes out on Wednesday as well, so it's tonight. If you're watching this when it comes out, the live videos in just a handful of hours. So make sure you watch those. If you're interested in seeing these videos early, you can also look at the channel membership, which is available. There's a link in the description below for more information on that. You'll see the videos as soon as they go up. In the case of videos like this, a few days in advance. So you get a little peek into what I'm planning from the get-go. But as always, I appreciate the additional support of anyone who is interested in becoming a member. If not, I thank you for watching. If not, I thank you for watching no matter what. But if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, hit the notification bell so you see the videos as soon as they get uploaded. Again, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.